You're listening to Real Talk Texas with local expert Steve Hakes. Now, here's Steve.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Steve Hakes, and today we're talking about the real estate market in North Texas. We're talking about the mortgage industry and what's been going on with the mortgage rate. I mean, what is going on with mortgage rates? They've gone up a half a point in the month of May. Is that going to continue in June? I really don't think so, but I didn't think they were going to go up a half a point in the month of May. A lot of my borrowers that were working with me in April, we were getting kind of complacent, I think, from January through April. Everything was just kind of flat in the marketplace. We didn't see any spikes and things like that. But then all of a sudden the stock market took a run and people took their money out of mortgage bonds and put them into the stock market, and all of a sudden our rates started creeping up. And it's been a steady creep. It wasn't like it went up a half point in one day. Now what's happened is each day we've gotten a little worse bond pricing, which that equates to for you is a little higher interest rate on your mortgage. And the average mortgage, 30-year mortgage rate went from 3.5% to 4%, according to bankrate.com. And so that was a little bit of a surprise for us. We were caught off guard, I think. But, I really wish I had a crystal ball and I could say what mortgage rates are going to be like in July. So you that are out there looking to buy a house, I think it's time to get off the couch, get out there and start looking for that home, because what's going to happen is a year from now, interest rates are probably going to be about a point higher and home prices are going to be about 20% higher. So if everything followed the trends that we're facing today. So it is a great time to buy a house. It's still great rates. I still recommend refinancing if you're over 5% in interest rate today. We've got a lot of strategies that can help you do a couple things. We can lower your payment, open up your cash flow a little bit, or we can actually keep your payment about the same or maybe raise it slightly and reduce the years that you're on in your loan. So one of the things I do at Affiliated Bank and at my office, really try to just give people the facts, and I dig into the research for them. I'll take a look and I'll do some financial analysis based on, say you've been in your house 5 years. Okay, instead of looking at another 30-year, maybe we don't lose a year, so we will do a 25-year loan for you. We try to tailor the loans to the people that are our clients, and that way they'll be our clients for life. I mean, it's kind of great. I recently got a call this week from a client that I had done their first loan in 1999. Now, I've done about 3 loans for them, but I changed companies, and somewhere along the line, I didn't do my job and stay in touch. But she found me on the internet by just Googling Steve Hakes, and the internet's a great thing because I'm all over in there. I'm on LinkedIn, and as well as Real Talk Texas website, as well as my own website, stevehakes.com. And so my client was able to get back in touch with me. And as a result, they own a home in Colleyville and a home at a lake. I'm saving them over $1,000 a month when they refinance this month. And that's with today's rates. And that's after the rates have gone up a half a point. They are really, I love it when I can help people out like that. So if you haven't done anything like that yet, you need some advice, you need some help, make sure you reach out to me. You can call my direct line at my office. It's 214-643-6021. That's 214-643-6021. I'm Steve Hakes. I'm with Affiliated Bank. I'm your host here at Real Talk Texas. So make sure you reach out to us. Before the break, we started talking about some of the things that I can do that other mortgage lenders out there that you may talk to today can't do. Now, obviously, everybody's going to be very competitive on rate. I will tell you that our fees are some of the lowest in the Metroplex. So make sure when you're comparing things, you can look at the fees. Make sure you give me a call, and we'll do a comparison for you if you got a quote from someone else. And possibly could save you some money on your fees that you have associated on either the home purchase or the refi. So I'm willing to help you out and on that as well. But one of the things that we do at Affiliated Bank that makes us different than most people, we're a small, I wouldn't say small, we're a mid-size community bank. We're located in Fort Worth, Arlington, Hurst, and Garland, our locations. And we have the ability to lend out our own money on mortgages. And what we've developed there in the last year and a half, I think it's been, with Gary Graham, our CEO, is something that we've branded as the Make Sense Mortgage. And what's happened in our industry is that the mortgage, I don't know if you've heard recently, but Fannie Mae is reporting record profits, Freddie Mac's record profits. And why is that? It's because the loan quality that's in the pool loans that are so much better with people that have refinanced. They've documented their income. They've really gone through and they've basically better qualified people. So the loans that are in the pool for Fannie and Freddie are, they're high quality. So the bonds are getting a higher price. They're getting more profit there. They're not having the defaults. They don't feel they're going to have the defaults. Over the last 4 years, we've been tightening guidelines, so it makes it a little more difficult to get a loan. And that's an unintended consequence, because there's a lot of people that really should get a loan. And until we put all these overlays, and until the big banks put overlays on things and made it more difficult to get mortgages, our pool has, gotten a little smaller. So especially has hurt self-employed borrowers, or people that have, maybe they had a short sale a few years ago, or maybe they're a jumbo, which I do a lot of these loans for jumbo borrowers. I'll give you an example. We had a guy down in Austin that had a 640 credit score, and he needed a 90% loan. He's putting 10% down on a $750,000 house. He had sold his other house. He was buying a house that he wanted, he and his wife wanted. He assumed that he was just going to be fine. And then he went out and found out that to get a 10% down loan on a jumbo product, you got to have a 725 credit score. And so I looked at his loan. Well, actually, he got referred to me by a realtor in the area that had heard about me and about our Make Sense mortgage. And so he gave me a call. We went through, and the way we work this is I have to ask myself, does it make sense? Well, the guy had a construction business. He was doing very well. His credit score was hit low. Believe it or not, he had a couple medical collections that popped up on his credit report within the last 2 months, and it just crushed his credit scores. So to me, it made sense. This guy has always paid his mortgage on time. He had 20% or 10% to put down. He had another 3-4 months in reserve afterwards. And what that means is take your mortgage payments times 2 or 3, have that in the bank after you close. That tells us that you're going to be okay after you close and you move into the house. And we present that to a panel of people at the bank, and I have to approve it first. And then we present it to the panel at the bank and say, hey, guys, this makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? And if it does, we grant the loan. And so we've been very, very successful lately. And if you're in that situation yourself out there, we do recently did a $1.3 million loan, similar situation for a doctor, was building his house. He was fine when he went in to do the construction, and construction on his home took 18 months. And at the end of the 18 months, his credit score had dropped. So we had to put him on the Make Sense mortgage. I call it parking. We put him over here on this loan. It's our own bank. You make the payments to us here at Affiliated, and then we monitor that, and then when you're ready to move off and get a fixed rate, lower rate loan, then we refinance you into that loan at that point. So we want to be your financial advisor, your help when it comes to your mortgage. So we have that Make Sense mortgage loan available, which really, really helps. Typically, it's not for your first-time buyer or anything like that. You got to put at least 10% down. We'd like to see 20% down. It's for the person that had maybe a blip. There was a bump. And in the last 12 months, everything's been good for them. They haven't had any lates. Everything's been good for 12 months. They've been saving money. They've got cash. But they had this little mark on them that happened, an incident that happened. I mean, I always say bad things happen to good people too. And maybe something happened. Maybe there was a divorce. Maybe there was, a bankruptcy that was settled. Maybe it was like 6 years ago, but Fannie Mae's requiring 7 years, or a jumbo lender's requiring 7 years to be out of it. But you've been out of it for 6 years. You've reestablished yourself, or a period of time, but it's for that, what Gary calls the near miss. They're almost there, but we can't get that loan approved and securitized by the agencies. So what we did, I think it's brilliant. We've come out with a niche product that really fits in that piece of the marketplace that can gain us customers, build a relationship with them on a banking level as well, and we can help you out. I mean, we can get you into that house. Yeah, it's a little more expensive. It's not a subprime loan, which I used to do some subprime lending back in the late 90s. Early 2000s, and those rates were 12% and 2 points or 2 to 4 points, and it was kind of ridiculous because it was a very high risk loan. This is not as high of a risk code, so it doesn't have those rates or fees at all. So it's a much more competitive situation, and it really, really helps our realtors get things placed. And so if you're listening and you're needing some help on a mortgage, I believe there's one place to call, and that's me, Steve Hakes, at 214-643-6643. 6021. That's 214-643-6021. That's my direct line at my office. I'm with Affiliated Bank in Dallas, and I do loans all over the state of Texas and in other states as well. So make sure you reach out to us. I really appreciate you listening in to me here on Real Talk Texas on KLIF AM 570. And next week, make sure you tune in. We've got a great guest next week. We're going to talk about retirement, some of the things in the financial world that will really help you make the right moves and strategies. I'm going to help you on the mortgage side, which is a big part of your financial plan. We've got a special guest coming in next week, so make sure you listen in. He's got something new for you when it comes to financial planning. So again, Steve Hakes with Real Talk Texas. Call my office. Make sure you get a hold of me. I'm here to help. Thanks for listening.